Oh, right, yeah. I thought I'd do some different things. We've had so much music going on, so many music requests, but yeah, I thought I'd do a day of other stuff. But yeah, I love Joey Diaz, but I actually haven't seen this. I've seen not everything Joey's done, but yeah, I've seen Joey, and I've I know Joey through Joe Rogan podcast, really. Which may come up on this, to be fair, but he's done like loads of them anyway. But yeah, yeah. Anyway, this is a channel Joke World, and Joey Diaz being the best storyteller ever. So yeah, let's go.
Deal with airplane peanuts.
The Alis were the first people I ever met, ever, beside my godfather, that ever spoke to me about sex. And then I had this Puerto Rican dude on my block, Puerto Rican Nelson. He lived in the back. He was a bartender in the city. He used to always ask me, and he wasn't a freak or nothing. I always thought that at one point he would molest me.
Yeah.
And even till today, I think deep sometimes. Did fucking Puerto Rican Nelson ever molest me? Because he used to always have a robe on and slippers and shit.
That's how he walked around?
Oh my God, Puerto Rican Nelson.
I love that you're not sure if he did. You feel like it's maybe...
Yeah, like I think, did he ever dope me? Like he ever pull a Cosby on me? Because everything about him fits like an M.O. He was just a good dude.
Yeah.
That we used to go outside and help us fix our bike. And he was a Spanish dude. And he was just, he had the sideburns and the leather jacket. And it was the fucking early 70s. And I moved to Jersey. And he would talk to a bunch of us. And one day he would take us in the back. His claim to fame with me was that I became friends with him. And I go over there, and he had a black friend that had went over to the Rock of Gibraltar, and he brought pictures back. And then he would just talk to me. And then one day, he asked me he had a couple of beers. You ever go to somebody's house, and you go to their house a lot, and they're sober, but one day you catch them and they're fucking hammered?
Yeah.
And we go over there, and it's like early in the morning. Like I used to go over there every morning at 10 and wake him up and what's up, man? What are we going to do today? Give me an hour. I'll go out there and play stickball with you. And he come out with coffee, and he reeked of alcohol.
Yeah.
He was one of those dudes in the summer. No air conditioning. Just a dynamite dude.
Yeah.
And one day, I knock on the door, and he answers with a towel around him, and he's sitting down like he's all fucked up. I go, Nelson, you gonna play football? He's like, man, not today, and all this shit. He goes, come back in like 2 hours. So, we were, in those days, you're punctual.
Yeah.
Like, we were there in 2 hours. He answered the door, you guys again? The fucking curtains were still up. He invites us in. He's got a towel on. He turns a light on, and there's like a table filled with alcohol, and like...
Oh, yeah?
How old were you at this point?
12. 12, and I can't remember who the fuck I walked in there with. Like, it was like 6 of us in the neighborhood that liked Nelson, but 2 of us actually interacted a little closer with Nelson.
Yeah.
I was Spanish, so I understood Nelson's world. I knew Puerto Rican people, but I can't believe who else was the other guy that mingled with Nelson. So we had woken Nelson up. He goes, come in. We sit on his couch. You guys want a soda? He gives us a soda. He puts the TV on. You can see he's still fucked up from the night before. He's got the towel on. And he's like, so you guys get late? And we don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, nobody ever spoke to me like that. I had uncles that would ask me, anybody suck your dick yet?
Yeah.
Are you pissing sweet yet? That type of shit. But this...
You pissed.
Oh, yeah. When you're Spanish, te preguntan, oye, tú me aduces. You know what I'm saying?
Great.
Yeah, it's a great line. But Nelson was basically the first person ever, but like, I'd known about sex, but Nelson was the first person ever that said it could be yours. I'm like, what do you mean you never had sex? I got a girl right now. She'll come over and clean your pipe. And we're both like fucking shitting our pants. Yeah, you come up with like $10 or something. We're like, nah. So that was it. He never talked about it again. And then one day we're sitting there like a month.
Just love this guy.
Like
a guy in a fucking towel has neighborhood boys over and offers to get them all whore. And he's drunk.
Because he's outraged that they haven't had sex at 14 or 12.
So he was cool as fuck. He used to play basketball with us and shit. So one day I go over there with this kid, and he starts telling us.
What's his name again?
Puerto Rican Nelson. We go.
Is it be capitalized?
No, Puerto Rican Nelson was cool as fuck because he used to bring us weed from the city, and he would actually give us 7 joints for $5.
Wow.
He really took care of us. It wasn't like he was a bad guy, which to me meant the world. Because a lot of people could bring you weed over in those days, but they say, I take a joint off the top. He was like, I got to go over anyway. Don't worry about it. The guy gives me a better deal. So I always liked him because of that. So one day we're there, and a girl's there. A girl comes out of his bedroom. Me and my buddy are like, wow, look at Puerto Rican Nelson with a broad. She sits on his lap and shit. And he's like, yeah, this is my girl. And he's feeling her up. And he's making out in front of her. And feeling into these and shit. And me and my buddy are frozen. Like, we're just, I can't remember who the fuck it was. So,
Wow.
boom,
How old was this guy?
This guy had to be 28, and the bro was like 21. But he was one of those, he had to be 26 maybe. He was from somewhere else, and he lived there. This is before the computer and before Neighborhood Watch and before...
and no one was freaked out by a pack of 12-year-olds hanging out with them?
No, because in those days, a lot of parents came out and played with kids. And
I know, that's different
touch.
now.
See, it's different
I would never
now.
be able to play with a random kid in my neighborhood.
So everybody knew him from the neighborhood, and in those days, we wanted to go into the murky waters.
Yeah.
And he was kind of opening the door. Not really, to be honest with you. It took a long time. It's not like he lurked us into his house and said, do you guys want to have sex? This is after we knew him for a year.
Right.
We go back there all the time to get water after a basketball game. We knew him, you know. But now he knew we were growing up, and he knew what our needs were. I look at it now like he was just trying to, but we couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So one day we're sitting back there, we had a basketball game, and he's like, hey, man, what'd you think of that fucking broad the other day? Me and my buddy like, oh, she was banging. He goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, tell these guys how hot she was. And me and my buddy's like, yeah, she was hot. He's like, oh, when can we see her? He goes, listen, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. He goes, listen, I'm going to fuck her tonight in the living room, and I'll leave the window open. You guys can come by and listen. Well, you know how many times I go to an audition, I hear this. Like a lot of people don't like to audition. I like to audition, and I'll tell you why, because I fuck with them.
Because you're funny.
You know, I've ripped my pants out. You know, if you watch, what's that show on CBS that's been on forever? I don't fucking
Which one?
The Monday nights.
The Big Bang Theory. Or
The one
How I
before
Met
that. How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
I did you know how I got How I Met Your Mother?
I didn't even know you did it.
Yeah, if you watch the episode, you're like, Joey, you're an extra. I'm an extra. You know why? Because I went into the audition, I had no underwear on. And there was you see these things that pop out of chairs?
Yeah.
The side things, the way you the armrest?
Right.
And she goes, get up to read. When I got up to read
pants
from the
came
scene,
down.
the fucking thing got caught in the hole in my pants and my dick came out. All 3 women sat there and I go, did you see the egg roll? And then I lost them for sure. They even told me, they go, you got the job. As I was walking down the street on Fox, my phone rang. My agent goes, go back. You didn't even read. I didn't even read, and they had called my agent and said, we love this guy. I went back, and when I went,
they
didn't
saw
even
your
read.
dick.
They saw the Cuban egg roll, you know.
Well,
but
they were probably not used to someone with confidence that didn't give a fuck.
you know, I went to an audition one time, bro, where the guy I'll never forget this. The guy was a white trash guy. Like, this family moved in. It was a pilot for ABC. And this guy is one of those guys that he had a little circular pool in front of his house. And he was watering shit, but at the same time he had like a thong on, and he's fat, and he's got jewelry on, like one of those guys in like Long Island. You know what I'm saying? So I'll never forget. I get to the audition, all these guys are there. Tony Longo, God rest his soul, all these big Italian dudes, and I knew they were gonna get the part, bro. I'm like, they're gonna get the part. I'm not gonna get it, but I had warm-ups on. All right, I had warm-ups on with the string, and I had white tidy whities. And I had a zip-up jacket, and I had to weigh 380. So I walked in, I go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my pants off. And right? I'm taking my fucking sweats off. Dog, I walk in, and what do you think these two ladies say to me? Hold on 1 second, we'll be with you in a minute. So they turn around. That's my cue, bitch. I took those sweatpants off. I took the shoes off and my socks, and I walked closer, and I took my shirt off. When they turned back around, all I had was boxer shorts on, like the tidy whities. That's it. Tits hanging out, stomach hanging over the underwear, and they did. As soon as they turned around, they were like, "Oh my God!" They're like, "That is terrible. Put your shirt back on." I'm like, "I'm not putting on shit. All right, I'm reading this motherfucker how it is." So you were supposed to like wave and say good morning, and they're like, "Action," and they like can't even look at me because I'm completely naked. You know, and they can't even look at me, and I'm making believe I'm flipping burgers, and I look over at them and I go, "Living like a doctor." That's it. They booked me. When I got to the audition, that was the read. Living like a doctor. They even gave me my own line. Half of those auditions I went into, they gave me whatever line I said in the audition. Like whatever they said wasn't good enough. Like I go in there with my own fucking line.
Yeah, that's probably why you got it.
Look at Joey. He's just sitting
There
there
you
like
are
a
in the
mook
back.
galore.
That's when you were wearing those big daddy shirts.
Yeah,
all the
look how
time.
big I was.
Jesus Christ, you were enormous back then. That must have been like, what, 2000 then, right?
God, yeah, this is 2000, 2002, 2003.
I remember when I met you, like right after I met you, I brought you onto the set of News Radio. And they were all like, who is this guy?
With the leather jacket on.
Is this guy your friend? Like, I go, that's Joey.
The kids on 148th Street were Puerto Rican, Irish, Italian, a couple Jews, and all of them were tough.
But we're talking same age range and everything.
Same
just a
age
whole
range.
different world up here.
Before I got into Santeria, my mom would send me up to my godmother's house on 148th Street and Broadway, 20 blocks from the epicenter of the world, Harlem. You're 20 blocks from Harlem. I was the heartbeat of New York City. I'm 20 blocks from the heartbeat of New York City. 6'5".
Oh, wow.
So I'm hanging out down there on 88th Street playing buck and killing rats. 148th Street,
6 years old, you're killing rats.
complete different game. First day on 148th Street, they came up to me, "How you doing, Ricky?" Whatever, and all of a sudden they're like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "I don't know, I play stickball." And they're like, "Nah, you want to see a body?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Let's go see a dead body." I'm like, "I like these kids." They took me down to West Side Avenue, and they had some guy who had been hit by a car. This is the 70s. This is like 65. There was no CSI. If you got hit by a car, you were there for like 2 or 3 days.
You saw that your first dead body.
The first dead
6,
body
7
I
years
saw,
old?
he was already had the flies on him, and they just threw plywood over him, and he was starting to stink like from 10 feet away. Like he had just been there maybe like these kids were. He was right by the Hudson River, and we would walk down to the Hudson River, and then finally 2 days later we went down. There was a crime scene, obviously some fucking, in those days people didn't jog. It's not like today that there's jogging.
Yeah,
I can kill you. I can kill you and drop you on a 170. They'd never find you. Today, these fucking joggers, they're out there looking around. And they always find bodies, joggers. It's not like they find like a $20 bill. You never seen a jogger go, "I found an envelope full of money." They always find some lady beat up and raped. What the fuck kind of morning is that?
He might actually have a proper point there. The lady here who went in the lake, went in the river, it was a big story here. I'm pretty sure it was a jogger that found her phone and her dog still running around. She just fell in the river and disappeared, and it was a big thing in this country. But yeah, I watch a lot of murder. It's always a jogger. Good point, Joey.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit. We're only at 6. All this, we're only at 6.
And then one day, I transferred from fucking Catholic school, got thrown out, and I went to McKinley. And now I had to go to school with John and all those other kids in that area. And it was not hard for me. I can't lie to you. It wasn't hard for me. I knew them already. Excuse me. I knew half of them already from the neighborhood. So In the 6th grade, I fucking went to the courts like I did every day, and I'm playing basketball because I want to be good at basketball.
Okay.
And this kid, Richie Ferreira, wants to play basketball. So we're playing basketball, and he's kind of drunk. Now I'm fucking 12, you know, maybe 11, 12. Richie Ferreira's maybe 17. So fucking in the middle of the game, I say, Richie, stop fouling us. And he pushes me and he throws the ball down the fucking hill. I get up to push him. He just knocks the shit out of me. And I didn't cry or nothing. I just took it and went down to the corner and went and picked up the fucking ball and went home. But my pants were ripped. I tell the story on stage. Not in the extended version, but this all went down and Carmine was on his porch with Peter looking at this. This was a commotion. And the next thing you fucking know, I go home and I go in the shower. My mom's home. What the fuck is my mom doing home? I go in the shower. The phone always rings when my mom is home, so I don't. But the next day is when I got home and she said, listen, we're going to go to the park. You got beat up yesterday? You didn't do nothing. And I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? So she takes me to the park. She takes the guy. We fight. He beats me up again. My mom walks me home, tells me it's okay. I'm going to get into a lot of brawls in my life. But guess what Richie Ferreira does?
What?
He hires John Bender to fight me.
What?
So I'm in the 6th grade one day, and John Bender comes in and he goes, hey, fucko, spick, whatever. We're fighting at 3 today. You, Richie Ferreira,
How old was John?
6th grade. We're both the same age.
What?
Both the same age. So
Okay.
now I go home, I take my books out. Now this was big time. This was weird because they thought Carmine was going to come. So Bobby got on the corner. They had people on top of the hill. And John showed up with every white kid in town. And I'm standing there with fucking Martin Perez, Valentin Farrow, Dominic Special, and Michael Special. You know, he showed up with 15 fucking kids. And they made a circle. And I fought him and he broke my nose. And I gave him a black eye and he busted my lip. He really beat me up, if you want to know the truth. And the next day we just went to school like nothing happened. And then like a week later he comes up to me. And he goes, listen, what happened? I feel really bad. And he shook my hand. And I took it for what it was. I always knew something was going to happen between us one day where I'd stab him or something. I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, see, that is the difference between boys. And that is like having a fight is actually like, although it seemed to be looked down on by the world now to fight, for boys it is actually a thing of like, it puts things to bed. Like I can guarantee you the reason that boy come over was because he's full well. It don't matter even if you win or you lose, as long as you actually have the fight, take your beating, don't say nothing. Yeah, you'll probably end up best friends with them people. But yeah, he is actually a really good storyteller. Like every story, it's just his way of talking. I think it just draws you into what he's saying, and he's giving you details of like. It reminded me of um, old people in this country where they tell you a story and then they'll tell you a little story within the story about everybody they mention within the main story. Like Jean, she's married to Tom, his brother's Jeff, he's now a policeman. He went out with a woman. They just go off on stories about every single person that gets mentioned within their story. Yeah, and Joey does it, but it is actually like it gives you details of kind of as well. It gives you the details where you know he's telling the truth because he's throwing in little things that just yeah. But the first one with the I don't know if I got molested or not. Yeah, we had where I grew up. It was like a cul-de-sac, and there was a little alley that that went into the garden of one of the houses that wasn't in the cul-de-sac, but run along like so. You'd have the row of houses, and then our cul-de-sac in here. It went into the garden of one of them. When we was younger, and we used to play out the front. Like no, if we was playing hide and seek, no one would hide in that alley because it was Dave the Queer's alley. That's what it was called, Dave the Queer's alley. If the football went down there, everyone would be like, I ain't fucking going in there because the rumor was that he snatched kids out of that alley. No one actually ever got snatched, but that was it. No one would ever hide in. No one would go down that alley. You would have to force someone to go and get the ball if it went in that alley. And then I actually found out he was uncles to one of the boys I was at school with, and they moved. His family moved away just out of nowhere, just moved on the other end of the country. No one really knew why, and it weren't until I got older that Dave the Queer's alley, he was actually molesting his nephew who was in my year. Crazy. But no one knew that. No one knew that till we all got older. But it's like kids have an intuition on people. Like everyone, there was, yeah, that was, you wouldn't go down that alley. But yeah, Joey is hilarious. But yeah, that's the reaction.